Young Turks, Cenk Uygur, Ana Kasparian, Vigeland. Fun for everybody. We have impeachment, ladies and gentlemen. We have impeachment. It's become a little bit more formal, as you'll see in a little bit. But the story you've got to stick around for. Yeah, we're teasing you by putting it near the end of the show. Here comes Bernie.
Let me just say,
you're about to say, here comes Hillary.
That's another story.
Well, yes, that is a story, but in this context, no good.
Yeah,
bad.
Here comes Chris Cillizza with a pro-Hillary headline.
And Chris Cillizza does not hide his disdain for Bernie Sanders.
Well, who does, right? In the mainstream media. I mean, even the great news that we have for you guys, the articles replete with anti-Bernie Sanders, subtle jabs for no reason at all. So overwhelmingly good news for Bernie Sanders a little bit later in the program, okay?
Yes.
But Ana, we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot of stuff to talk about. I would like to make a few announcements, get that out of the way, and then get to the stories. So first, I'd like to talk about myself. I will be on an immigration panel.
Finally.
I will be on an immigration panel tomorrow, actually. And if you're in Los Angeles, you are welcome to come. It's titled Our Stories, Our Power. And again, it's on December 6th, tomorrow at 2 p.m. at La Plaza there at that place that you see. Look, I know how to pronounce it correctly, but I always feel uncomfortable, like I'm doing what Obama used to do with Pakistan, right?
Oh yeah.
But
or
La
pulling a
Plaza de
Beto O'Rourke.
Cultura y Artes, Los Angeles.
There we go.
Okay, so check that out. If you're interested in going, just send an email to rdiaz@caimmigrant.org, okay? Also, Shop TYT, I don't know what they're doing. They're doing all these sales. There's a new sale now.
Oh, come on, how many sales are there gonna be?
Lots of sales. Okay, so today's actually the last day to place orders and receive guaranteed delivery by Christmas. So get free shipping on all orders over $150 today.
Well, that's at least a lot of money, so that's good.
Yeah, well, and you have to use the promo code MARY at checkout. So go to shoptyt.com, use the promo code MARY, and you'll get free shipping.
As in Merry Christmas, not the Virgin
Correct.
Mary.
MERRY is the promo code. We're knocking it, out of the park today.
We all have commentary, so we have to get that in.
I can't believe we put Merry as in Merry Christmas in the promo code. It should be Happy Holidays.
Okay, and then also TYT is now on Xfinity X1, Xfinity Flex, all these different ways to watch the show. So if you have one of those cool gadgets, those voice remotes, all you do is click on that little microphone button and you say, The Young Turks, if you have Xfinity X1 or Xfinity Flex, and will pop up. Very exciting.
That's how you find things on Comcast. And I kept asking you, but what if you scroll? No, they're like, just say it, okay? So you could also say TYT, but you must pronounce it like Ana. The Young Turks.
No, but Jake, everyone does. Everyone does when they're using the voice remote, right?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they need to talk like a robot, but it is what
By the way, to the most random point of all time, Brett Ehrlich actually does talk like a robot. On the phone, if you call Brett, he'll be like, hello, this is Brett. But that's his real voice. It's amazing.
Really?
Next time you talk to him on the phone, pay attention. No, pay attention. You're like, oh my God, it's true.
You know what? I had that experience because I think he's more animated in person. I was like, is he mad at me? No, it's just how he sounds on the phone.
Yeah.
All right.
Turns into Zuckerberg.
And then finally, geez, all right. And then well, he did go to Stanford.
Ooh, I do declare.
Where all those well, Zuckerberg didn't go to Stanford, I don't think, but a bunch of techies.
Napster guy did, and I learned that from that movie.
Sean Parker.
All right, and then Margaret Cho will be on The Conversation. Make sure you check that out. It'll take place on Monday, December 9th. She's a Grammy and Emmy-nominated stand-up comedian, best known for her routines that often include social and political critiques. Again, that's on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific at tyt.com/live.
Awesome. Yeah, and Kevin Smith reached out the other day and said, hey, looking forward to coming back on too. So,
all right,
not a big deal, I'm just saying.
Yeah, name dropping.
We made that very quick.
Very popular.
X-Flex, the triceps. Okay, anyway, all right.
Let's do it.
Today, I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment. I commend our committee chairs and our members for their somber approach to actions which I wish the president had not made necessary.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced today that she has decided that Congress will draft articles of impeachment. She gives a little more detail in the next video. Take a look.
Sadly, but with confidence and humility, with allegiance to our founders and a heart full of love for America, today I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment. I commend our committee chairs and our members for their somber approach to actions which I wish the president had not made necessary. In signing the Declaration of Independence, our founders invoked a firm reliance on divine providence. Democrats, too, are prayerful, and we will proceed in a manner worthy of our oath of office to support and defend the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic. So help us God.
Okay, I don't want to overfocus on style because it's a good day in America. She's announcing impeachment, credit where credit is due. But politicians are funny folks. So with allegiance to our founders and our hearts full of love for America, today I'm asking our chairman to proceed with the articles of impeachment. Okay, a little flowery.
But you forgot the part. You forgot the part where she stares and just gulps, like.
Yeah, see, but that's the thing. Like, that's hard. Like, to be fair to them, they got to read from a prompter. They don't normally read from a prompter, and it's a super awkward situation. And she's got to go out there and tell us how full her heart is with love. As she,
Obama read from a prompter all the time and was very good at it.
I know, but he was president. He does it way more often.
Okay, so
look at me defending Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah,
so let's talk about a very clear strategy that Democrats have chosen to proceed forward with the impeachment investigation and now in drafting the articles of impeachment. They have gone to great lengths to at least give the appearance that they are saddened by this process.
That
this is a disastrous thing that's happening.
They're not saddened.
They're saddened by, and so you're gonna see that over and over again. Look, I gotta be honest, I don't even care whether they're saddened or not, right? I don't, why is that relevant at all? And so the reason why they're using that strategy is because they want to make it appear, and it is, I think that this has been a fair process. I think that they've done everything that they could to get Trump's defenders to actually participate in this and comply with subpoenas to give their perspective, their side of the story. But they have obstructed this in every way that they can. And so look, I think that as long as they have a fair process and as long as the facts are out there and they speak for themselves, that's all that matters. And they think, well, if we just seem like we're saddened by this whole process, well then maybe conservatives in the country won't see this as like a political move just to oust Trump, but they're gonna see it that way anyway. So like, let's just move on, let's get past it.
They're trying to appear like patriots, right? But you know who doesn't care about like dunking on his political opponents and still gets the political credit of patriotism is someone like Trump. Like it's this kind of Washington fiction where everyone, it wants to talk about the founders and the values, where the regular American, it just thinks it's a food fight between two parties. So just kind of act like it.
Yeah, I mean, look, historically for Democrats, that's been the major problem. They don't fight back. But here again, I want to focus on the substance that they are actually impeaching him, and they will almost certainly win that vote in the House for sure. So, like, let's just soak that in for a second. Donald Trump is going to be impeached. So, I mean, right? Like, I hope that they don't screw it up somehow between now and the vote. So that's a great moment. You guys are absolutely right on the theatrics of the politics of this. Like, oh, we are so sad. You don't have to do any of that. Why don't you just be real for a second?
Yes.
They're so overproduced.
Yeah. And I think what this does, at least for me, is it just confronts me with the fact that Democrats are not good at political theater. Political theater is part of the job, and you do need to be good at it, and they're just not good at it. It's just devastating to see over and over again.
It's all their consultants talking.
Yeah.
Look, if it was me, I'd be like, we are impeaching Donald Trump today, Not at all saddened by it. He's a monster. He's a liar. He's a fool. Should have done this a long time ago.
This is a good day in America. This is how our system of government is supposed to work. It is a system of checks and balances. Donald Trump has abused his power. We have an abundance of evidence to prove it. You don't even need a teleprompter for that. But anyway, I mean, look, it's kind of unfair because I kind of do this show without a teleprompter, so I have a lot of experience. But nonetheless, as a public servant, you should be good at public speaking. You should be out there speaking and having conversations with the people. And that's not something that a lot of Democrats are known for. But anyway, let me give you some more on the details of this. And you're right, Cenk, we should focus on the substance. Now, Donald Trump, of course, has decided that the best route is to whine about it on social media. And he says, if you're going to impeach me, do it now, fast, so we can have a fair trial in the Senate. Okay, pause for a second. So we can have a fair trial in the Senate. Why does he think that it's going to be fair in the Senate as opposed to the process that we just experienced in the House? Because Republicans, of course, control the Senate. And then he continues to say, and so that our country can get back to business. We will have Schiff, the Bidens, Pelosi, and many more testify and will reveal for the first time how corrupt our system really is. I was elected to clean the swamp, and that's what I'm doing.
He can't even get his own tagline right? You drain it. What happened?
Good catch, yeah.
No one talked about cleaning the swamp. That was just you just now. So yeah, that weird change there.
Well, so in terms of the people that are testifying, well, that's trippy. So the Republicans control the Senate. That means they control the committees and can call witnesses in any way that they want. And so, will they really call the Speaker of the House to testify about this? And could that backfire? I mean, what are they going to ask them? Why are you investigating Donald Trump? Because he's a criminal, and my heart is full of love for America. So that's setting up for a bizarre scene in the Senate. But much more importantly, now Andrew Napolitano on Fox News is goading Trump into testifying. He's like, you know what? I think you got this, dog. If you go to the Senate, the Republicans are in charge, right? And you could clear this up because you'd be amazing. 200 million people would watch you. And when he said that, I was like, oh my God, he might do it for the ratings.
It would be the greatest ratings ever.
No, there needs to be a campaign. Like a grassroots campaign to goad Donald Trump
to buy off Napolitano to keep this up, so he can be our Trojan horse.
We don't even need to buy him off.
Fox hosts. I mean, if it's coming from us, he's even smart enough to figure it out. But if we get the Fox hosts to all collude, then we'll have him.
Well, look, all they got to do is tell them the 200 million people will watch, and they will. They will. It'll be the biggest ratings in American history, Donald. Think about it, okay? Yeah. And who's better at ratings and who's better at speaking to the people than you, Donald? It's gonna be a perfect testimony. But before we move away from Trump's tweets, I actually wanna read the first half of the tweets because there was such wonderful projection there. He said, the do-nothing Democrats had a historically bad day yesterday in the House. It's amazing. So all these constitutional law professors went up there and said, oh, he definitely did it. It's definitely a crime and he should definitely be impeached. And the one law professor they had on the Republican side was like, well, I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm just saying you guys should take a couple of years to decide.
Yeah, Jonathan Turley. Okay. He was the only one who disagreed with the other constitutional experts, but not on the substance of what Trump did, but on the speedy nature of this impeachment inquiry.
Yeah, and so, and a lot of the experts said that Donald Trump had a historically bad day. So what does he do? No, oh yeah, you had a historically bad day. Why?
Because there's because a percentage of the population will just believe it. Like like they're gonna believe that the Horowitz report contained so much damning evidence. I'm picking up this voice you do. So much damning evidence about the Democrats that just if he says it, it is gospel, and that's the definition of a cult of personality.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to that report a little bit later. If you want to catch the whole show, tyt.com/join. You can get all of it if you're a member anytime you want. Okay, but to finish it up, he said they have no impeachment case and are demeaning our country. He demeans our country, but nothing matters to them. Trump 101. They have gone crazy. I wonder who's actually gone crazy. So this made me think he had a heart attack. Because remember, after he went to the doctor in an emergency, he said, now remember, it was definitely not a heart attack, not the chest. Oh, okay, so it was the chest and you had a heart attack. So, he's unbelievable with this projection.
Yeah. You know, there was this theory that he went to the doctor unexpectedly in an effort to eventually say that he needs to resign due to health concerns, but not because of this impeachment investigation. I don't know. I mean, look, it's all speculation. Who knows what's really going on? I mean, he doesn't lead a very healthy lifestyle, so he probably does have some health issues. But look, you're right. I think that this is good. I think it's good that they're moving forward. A lot of people are fear-mongering about what's likely to happen in the Senate. You know, the idea that Trump is likely to be acquitted because there are more Republicans in the Senate. Look, I know that there could be political ramifications for Democrats if that were to occur. But I still don't care because it's about principle and it's about doing the right thing. And I think it's important to have those Republican senators on the record saying, yes, I enable Donald Trump. I enable the executive branch to engage in criminality.
And impeachment isn't like one size fits all. So everyone is freaked out because there were political ramifications for the Republicans back during the Clinton era. They were going after him for a freaking affair. This is super clear-cut quid pro quo, and I think that there will be political ramifications for the Republicans if they don't side with justice in this case and they just back Trump up. Specifically among the suburban voters that the moderate Democrats are so concerned with. I think that we should be able to turn out the progressive base as well, but there is a coalition of moderate people, centrists in the suburbs who are very concerned with the impeachment proceedings, and they will follow what happens in the Senate.
So last thing on this is that both for policy and politics reasons, I actually don't want them to rush. And of course I don't care what Trump wants them to do, because for policy, meaning substantive differences in this case, or reasons in this case, is that well, I want to talk about the obstruction charges that Mueller talked about in his report, 10 different cases of obstruction. And I want to talk about the hush money payments, which was also a clear violation of the law. So I wish they would take their time to introduce those articles of impeachment in the House as well. Now, in terms of politics, you do want it to go into spring. I don't want it to be political in the sense of like, oh, let's drag it out so it affects the presidential election. But if you're taking politics into account, you want it in the spring when the Republicans start to panic about their polling numbers in their own Senate races. And so then this idea that they're definitely going to acquit, I don't think that's true at all. It depends on how well they're polling in their home states as they go up for re-election. Right. So that is probably the single most important issue when it comes to whether Donald Trump will actually be held to account or not.
Well, let's move on to a different aspect of this story that I thought was interesting. So today, Nancy Pelosi announced that they will be moving forward with articles of impeachment. And after she gave her announcement on that, she was asked a provocative question by a reporter with Sinclair Broadcasting Group. And the question was not something that she took kindly to. Take a look.
Do you hate the president, Madam Speaker? Because
I don't hate anybody.
Representative Collins, reason I ask.
You don't hate anybody, not anybody in the world. So don't accuse me.
I did not accuse you.
You did.
I asked a question.
You did.
Representative Collins yesterday suggested that the Democrats are doing this simply because they don't like the
I
guy.
had nothing to do with it. Nothing to say with it.
I think it's an important
I
point.
think the president is a coward when it comes to helping our kids who are afraid of gun violence. I think he is cruel when he doesn't deal with helping our dreamers, of which we're very proud. I think he's in denial about the climate crisis. However, that's about the election. This is about the elect. Take it up in the election. This is about the Constitution of the United States and the facts that lead to the president's violation of his oath of office. And as a Catholic, I resent your using the word hate in a sentence that addresses me. I don't hate anyone. I was raised in a way that is a heart full of love and always prayed for the president. And I still pray for the president. I pray for the president all the time. So don't mess with me when it comes to words like that.
So before we get to the substance of what she said there, and of course she's getting a lot of applause online and social media, I want to give you some background on who that reporter was. So he actually used to work at Fox News, but he was forced to resign at some point. His name is James Rosen, and according to NPR, James Rosen's former Fox News colleagues said that he had established a pattern of flirting aggressively with many peers and had made sexual advances toward 3 female Fox News journalists, including 2 reporters and a producer. And his departure followed increased scrutiny of his behavior at the network. And that's according to colleagues who spoke to the media. So that's who that guy is. And he's clearly conservative. He's now working for Sinclair, which again is very conservative, just like Fox News. But nonetheless, what do you guys think about her response to it?
Well, as a lapsed Unitarian, I found her pointing a little weird, but that's really my only. I mean, it was like, I'm glad she pushed back. It was kooky and weird. I don't understand what her Catholicism has to do with it at all. That guy's a jerk. He's a terrible guy. It was corny, but you know what? Like, hey, showing a little fight in her own way, to put it delicately.
Yeah, no, I agree with Emma. I got mixed feelings on it. I like that she fought back. I'm super happy about that. I encourage her to do that more. You know, obviously we're stylistically different, and so yeah, I don't like Donald Trump at all. So if you want to say, do you hate Donald Trump? Sure, why not?
No,
he's given us,
not even sure
he's
why
given us 1,000 reasons to dislike him, despise him, hate him, whatever adjective you want to use. But she's right about the pushback on the question, because this isn't about our dislike of Donald Trump. This really is about him violating the law. Like if the most ardent progressive came to me and said, okay, we don't like Donald Trump's policies, let's say the Muslim ban, okay? Let's impeach him over that. I'd say, no, I don't agree. If you didn't want the Muslim ban, then you shouldn't have voted for Donald Trump. That's what the election was about. And he's terribly cruel to all immigrants, but he was very clear about that during the campaign. It's not like he hid it, and the people voted for him. So then don't vote for Republicans, don't vote for Donald Trump. I wouldn't want to, in that sense, overturn the election. It is what it is. We live in a democracy. It's about, this impeachment is actually about the law, and the fact that he keeps breaking the law and thinks that there's going to be no consequence, and he thinks the president in a democracy is above the law, and that just isn't true. So these gross violations of our Constitution. So Pelosi, as much as I wouldn't have talked about like love in my heart and I pray for him, the only thing I pray about Donald Trump is pray that he gets out of office as quickly as humanly possible. So I wouldn't have gone in that direction, but we're different people. But the substance of her answer is exactly right. This isn't about politics. This is about upholding the law.
But also implicit in his question is that hatred for him would cause her to be emotional about the impeachment proceedings, which is clouding her judgment. One could interpret that in a way that might imply sexism and would not be asked of other male leaders, perhaps. And it would be consistent with this former Fox News hosts, reporters past.
And it's a common defense of Donald Trump, and a common statement or talking point that conservatives use against the impeachment process. They argue that this is not about the facts, that it's just about Democrats who are incredibly angry that they lost in 2016, and this is their way of trying to remove him from office. I mean, look, again, what matters is the evidence, and when you have more than a dozen people who have worked with Trump, some of whom gave him $1 million for his inauguration, testifying against him and showing that there was a quid pro quo, that's what matters.
Yeah, so last thing on that is, of course, is with all Republicans and conservatives, is projection. So why did they impeach Bill Clinton? Because they were really concerned about a sexual affair that he had? Remember, at the time, Gingrich was having a sexual affair, and so was Livingston. So the two heads of the Republicans in the House, right? And Livingston eventually had to resign because his was an absolute mess that involved legal violations, etc. So now, why did they impeach Bill Clinton when they was supposed to be at a real estate deal, and it turns out he didn't do anything wrong in the real estate deal? They impeached him because they hated him, and they were just looking for any excuse. So they project that on the Democrats. Oh, you must be doing the same thing we do. We don't really care about the law at all. We just hate the guy and wanted to impeach him.
Right.
Well, no, that's not what the Democrats are doing. In fact, the Democrats are far too cautious in how they fight against the opposing party. So it took us a Herculean effort to get Pelosi to even start these hearings in the first place.
All right, well, we got to take a break. When we come back, we will show you the findings of the investigation into the Mueller investigation. Remember, the Trump administration has claimed all sorts of conspiracy theories about the intelligence community. So what did their investigation find? We'll tell you the details when we return.
We hope you're enjoying this free clip from the Young Turks. If you want to get the whole show and more exclusive content while supporting independent media, become a member at tyt.com/join today. In the meantime, enjoy this free section. All right, back in the Young Turks. Let's go to the member section first. Carlo Fornia writes, and I love Margaret Cho. Thank you, TYT.
You're welcome.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, so that's on Monday. Margaret Cho is on the show. Yeah, I watch too many kids movies with my kids. All right, Pants Status 0 says, yes, more Kevin Smith always. Bucket of Squirrels is ammo against logic, writes in. All I want to find in my stockings this holiday season is Trump's resignation letter. I Stole McConnell's Shell writes in, yes, Emma being the sneaky mastermind. Roger Kinney on Twitter says, come on, Cenk, that announcement by Pelosi was a joke. We're under 11 months until Trump will be voted out. The Democrats are losing the message because they are trying to make the GOP supporters more comfortable. Ridiculous. Well, I agree with you, at least in principle, that the job of the Democratic Party is not to make GOP voters comfortable. Gonzo Tokyo says, does anyone else feel like Donald Trump forgot to stop playing Opposite Day when he was a kid? Good point. And then finally on YouTube Super Chat, 2 comments. Eduardo Gitz says, keep it going, guys. Greetings from Mexico. Right back at you, brother. And FR writes, buen hecho, Ana.
Hecho.
Hecho?
Hecho.
Hecho. Okay, no idea, of course, what that means.
Gracias, mi amigo.
There you go, that I know. All right, rock and roll, what's next?
All right, so Donald Trump had been complaining about all these conspiracy theories regarding the Mueller investigation. And so as a result, he wanted his Attorney General, William Barr, to investigate the investigation into Russian meddling and possible collusion between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. And he would talk about it a lot, especially in public. Remember this?
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation, the beginnings of that investigation. You look at the origin of the investigation. The Mueller report, I wish, covered the oranges, how it started.
Well, those oranges have been juiced and William Barr has come up with nothing, okay? In fact, the Washington Post got the scoop on this story and I love this headline. It shows that no, nothing. Barr's handpicked prosecutor tells Inspector General he can't back right-wing theory that Russia case was US intelligence setup. So let's give you the details on that. What does this all mean? Well, John Durham, the US attorney chosen by William Barr to lead the investigation, told the Justice Department's Inspector General, who conducted his own probe, that he has found no evidence to support claims that a Maltese professor who spoke with former Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos was secretly a US intelligence asset. Ooh. So the intelligence agency said the professor was not among their assets, and Durham informed Horowitz's office that his investigation had not produced any evidence that might contradict the Inspector General's findings on that point.
So that Trump supporter I spoke to, who said that this was all going to exonerate Donald Trump, the Horowitz report, it was going to get all the Democrats. It sounds like that's not going to happen. And yeah, my one non-substantive point is that William Barr looks like the Mucinex man. Does anyone notice that?
Yes, the Mucinex cartoon character? Yeah, definitely, 100%.
There's been a couple of comparisons, Pepe the Frog.
Oh, right, yes.
And others. Okay, so look, I love that we wasted taxpayer money, sarcasm, investigating this wild conspiracy. I think it was a professor from Malta who actually was a CIA agent who started the investigation of Donald Trump as a plan. Or FBI or whatever conspiracy theory QAnon came up with and we wasted taxpayer money on. But here it is, Durham was picked by Barr to be a lackey. He was known as that. In fact, when he was announced, a lot of people were concerned. They're like, oh my God, Durham's gonna do this investigation. He'll find anything to blame the Democrats and pretend that this happened.
And he couldn't even do that?
Yeah, he didn't do it. And Barr, who is as big a lackey and extreme right winger and loyal to Donald Trump, et cetera, they got together and they couldn't find any evidence that it was in fact our intelligence agencies who were trying to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't win and plant this evidence and blah, blah, blah. It was all fantasy.
Once again, taxpayer money to appease a right wing that is purely emotional in their analysis of the situation, and they work backwards from their conclusion, which is that Donald Trump is phenomenal and he didn't do anything wrong. So like, we are wasting our time with all of these reports and with this taxpayer funded IG thing that like they're not gonna be swayed. The people who are already committed to the facts know what the reality is, and the Trumpers, it's all pure emotion and fealty to Trump from this point. So again, the people that were gonna be swayed by this, it didn't make a difference.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. So Durham was appointed by William Barr to pursue this at the Justice Department level. So the Horowitz report that Emma's referring to is the Inspector General of the FBI. And he came to the conclusion that Durham did. So they both agreed, total nonsense theory. Now, Horowitz said, look, it's not that the FBI didn't do anything wrong, and here are the couple of missteps that they had. We're gonna see his full report a little bit later, but these are the reports of what he concluded. And so we'll see what things that he thinks the FBI did wrong, but he apparently concluded, no, it was not a setup. They were not trying out to get Donald Trump, and there was no plot against them at all.
So I can be a little more specific because the Washington Post was able to review a draft of Horowitz's report, even though it hasn't been made public yet, it hasn't been finalized. And so just to give you a sense of the wrongdoing by FBI officials, they just found examples of members of the FBI who don't like Donald Trump, because they're humans and humans have political opinions, right? But Horowitz determined that their dislike for Donald Trump did not in any way negatively impact the fairness of the Mueller investigation. There was one example of an FBI lawyer, Kevin Kleinsmith. Horowitz found that a low-level FBI lawyer, Kleinsmith, doctored an email that was used as part of the warrant application process, potentially significant misconduct that Durham is now exploring as a possible crime. Horowitz found that he sent messages suggesting a dislike of Trump, including one saying, "Viva la resistance." And so the whole idea there is, look, they're trying to get a warrant, and including something like that in the email is gonna make maybe a judge issuing the warrant question whether or not there's like some sort of political motivation behind it.
Yeah, now, to be fair, he didn't put Viva la Resistance as the email for the judge, then he wouldn't have gotten the warrant. It was in a separate text, I believe. So what the Inspector General is saying is he might have changed an important material part of the warrant to get the warrant, and that is problematic, and it really is. No one should do that. It doesn't matter who you're investigating. And we don't know if it was something that would have changed the outcome of whether they could have gotten that warrant or not. So that's important, and if he did that wrong, he should be held accountable for that. Separately, they're saying he didn't like Trump, he did Viva la Resistance. But at the end of the day, none of this was driven by political bias, and none of his superiors at the agency said, hey, go do this. Hey, we've got a plot against Trump. Hey, make sure you doctor the warrant. No, it's one guy on one warrant that did not affect the rest of the case at all, from what we see so far reported in the Washington Post. And then in terms of what the Trump people will cling on to,
That's what they'll cling on to.
Yeah, of course, it doesn't matter that the Inspector General overall said there was no plot. They were not out to get him. The political bias did not affect the overall process. It doesn't matter that Durham, their handpicked guy, says there was no evidence at all. What they'll cling on to is the warrant was documented and they didn't like Trump. They didn't like Trump. But wait a minute, more than half the people at the FBI, based on, now there was no poll done to be fair, but based on internal reporting from sources of the FBI, voted against Hillary Clinton. And they definitely, those folks did not like Hillary Clinton at all. That doesn't mean there was a plot against Hillary Clinton. By the way, if there was a plot against anyone, it would have been Hillary Clinton because she lost. What kind of a plot does the FBI run where Donald Trump wins? Right, it makes no sense at all. Not liking a particular political candidate is not remotely an issue. It's if you use that to actually doctor evidence or fix a case or do a plot against someone, that would be problematic. And both different people looking into this case said that did not happen, definitively did not happen in terms of a plot against these folks by any higher ups or overall organization.
If we never talk about the Mueller investigation again, I would be very happy. Like, I'm so sick of it at this point. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of everyone who's involved in it. I'm sick of the fact that Democrats emphasized it for so long and decided not to pursue the obstruction of justice charges. 10 instances of obstruction of justice in Democrat. Like, Trump doesn't realize he's the luckiest man alive.
100%.
Luckiest man alive in the political world, because any other politician, both Democrat and Republican, wouldn't get away with this kind of stuff. Donald Trump has consistently, and he still whines and cries about it. The only reason why we're still talking about the Mueller report is because of Trump and his lackeys. Yeah, let it go. You got away with it. Let it go.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
God.
Pelosi was handed a gift of 10 obstruction charges and she chose to throw it away. If I was Trump, I'd be like, don't ever talk about it again. I can't believe we got away with it. But he can't help himself. He digs the hole deeper. Okay, well, let's do an investigation of the Mueller report so that everybody can talk about it again. Such a knucklehead.
All right, so we're gonna take a break. When we come back, Betsy DeVos's proposal with what to do with student loans will infuriate you. So I'm gonna give you the details on that. And then we will cover the protests that have been happening in Iran. Come right back.